Man, there are some neighborhoods in Virginia Beach that are underpriced. I want to talk to you about those today. There are several that are across the area, different ages of houses, all sorts of different types of neighborhoods. I want to talk about those today, the places that I think that you can get most value, that I think these houses I think will start going up in price more relative to others around it. There are 8 specific neighborhoods. These are all kind of sprinkled in different parts of the area too. And what makes a neighborhood undervalued? Well, sometimes it's school district demand. Sometimes it's neighborhood feel, right? Sometimes it's the house size, or sometimes it's a matter of the house neighborhood just isn't big enough to support a lot of sales. And what happens is that as sales don't happen, it's harder to find comparable sales for that house to sell for a certain price. You can see a house in a neighborhood price based on a past market time, but really is worth more than that. And that's just because the market's changed and not many houses have sold in there. So there are a lot of different reasons as to why neighborhoods are undervalued. So the first neighborhood is going to be on the western side of Virginia Beach, right on the edge of Virginia Beach. A neighborhood, if you look over here near Military Highway, there is a neighborhood, the Chesapeake City line is like right here. Well, this neighborhood right here in the corner, see this right here? This is La Cove. I bet you've never heard of La Cove. Well, it's in this little nook back here, and if you're driving down Indian River Road, you obviously drive right past it, and the houses and the buildings on the Indian River Road don't necessarily match the neighborhood feel that's back in La Cove. So this neighborhood back here, you've got often water access on the corners, but as you drive in, it's very, very quiet. In these houses, you can get a nice 24, 23, 2,500 square foot house under $500,000, nice yard, nice spot, nice floor plan, and so I think for what you get, great value. Now, what's around here? You're next to Chesapeake, of course. Number 2 is you're close to a lot of interstates and main roads, Military Highway and Indian River Road. I'd say the biggest drawback to this neighborhood, I think, is just the area aesthetic around it. And so you're on Indian River Road. This area just doesn't feel as nice. It's getting rebuilt, but it just... See, there's a McDonald's right there. It's old. You see a bunch of industrial, commercial buildings, some that are vacant. It's just that kind of vibe, and I think that affects the interest or demand in La Cove, and it also, again, just the idea that people don't even realize that it's back here. So not a big neighborhood, and I think another reason why this area isn't priced as high is because there aren't too many that sell in here, and I think that that's going to catch up as you start seeing more get listed. The next, we're going to go back into the central part of Virginia Beach, in an area in Kempville, a neighborhood called Kempville Colony. And Kempville Colony is right off of Kempville Road right here. This is a connecting area between Kempville Rec Center and the area near like Bellamy Manor, Larkspur, the area I love a lot. I've talked about it a lot. And also Kempville Road and Fairfield, which is an area I like a lot too. Right here. This neighborhood is, I'd say you can get a house, 4 bedrooms, nice. 440, 465. Move houses in here over to a neighborhood like Fairfield, you might pay an extra $30,000 for the same type of house. I think it's also a nook that doesn't have too many houses selling here. I think that is part of the factor as well. You'll see some also that are smaller, like 3 bedrooms, 1,800 square foot, that are, in the low 400s, upper 300s sometimes. But this is very convenient too. You can, bike, walk, whatever, to Kempville Rec Center, the Kempville Park right down the street. You're off Kempville Road and off Providence with tons of shopping and access to lots of different parts of the city. You got a couple of drawbacks are going to be, if you're on Lock Lane, this is a main cut through road. So if you're on Lock, it can be kind of busy. And if you're in Kempville, Providence, the strip malls can feel old, and there are some that are going to get rebuilt or getting rebuilt and knocked over, but it just feels kind of old. I grew up around here. I'm very used to this part of town. I love it personally. I'm just used to it. But I can see if someone comes from here from a different part of the country and isn't really sure if this is just really a nice spot or not. It's just kind of congested, a little bit kind of on the old side, but I think for the price, it's a pretty good value. And it's also close to Kempville High School, right down the street, in elementary school, which is the school district that this neighborhood, Kempville Colony, is in. And the third one is a little bit further south from there, similar age houses, maybe a little bit newer, in an area closer to, if you've heard, I talked about Brigadoon a little bit earlier. It's an area called Charlestown, and Charlestown is very close to Brigadoon. It kind of almost blends into Brigadoon. Over right in here, this is Charlestown right here. And my parents actually lived in Charlestown a long time ago, back in the early mid 80s. And this area you have a similar vibe to what you might get for example, in Brigadoon, but you might be paying a little bit less for it. So for example, you get a house, 3 or 4 bedroom house in Brigadoon, you might be paying, you know, $460, $470. Well, in Charlestown, you might be paying $440, $430 for a 4 bedroom, 2,000 square foot house, maybe even less than that. I'm seeing houses that have been renovated in the 4 bedroom realm, 1,900 square foot ish, go for about $400,000 or being listed for. So that in of itself is pretty affordable considering where it is. So zooming out, you're close to Lynn Haven Parkway, you're close to Centerville Turnpike, Kempville Road, you're close to other main roads, Indian River Road, plenty of shopping nearby within 5-10 minutes. And you're also close to a sneaky one, close to Greenbrier, which is about maybe 10 minutes away towards the west side too. So I like Charlestown. You don't get too many discussions about Charlestown very much. And I think part of that's just because other neighborhoods near it get kind of envelop it. Like, for example, Lake James, Lake Christopher, Brigadoon, areas near there that, you know, they're great neighborhoods, but I do think Charlestown gets overlooked. And one of the things I like about some neighborhoods is if you have a neighborhood that's priced higher and you have roads in that neighborhood that drive into other ones that connect to other neighborhoods, and that other neighborhood is a little bit cheaper or it looks a little, just slightly a little bit different, that cheaper neighborhood is the one I'm into for value, because you can get that, almost have the same type of feel and be paying a significant amount difference. So that's kind of what I think about Charlestown, comparing that to Brigadoon, because it's just that much different, but it's cheap enough to, I think, to make a difference as far as value goes. Now, next to that, right, almost next door to it, there's a neighborhood that's newer. It's hard to find newer neighborhoods, newer built neighborhoods that have a significant value. But I think this one is unique. It is Woodbridge Point. And if you look on the map, here's Centerville Turnpike, here's Lynn Haven Parkway. This is Woodbridge Point right here. Now, these houses were built in the mid 2000s, almost late 2000s, 2007, 2008. These are going to be anywhere from, mostly they're 4 or 5 bedroom houses. They're kind of a little bit on the larger side, you know, 2,000 to 3,000 square feet, most of them. You'll still see some that are 3, but mostly 2,000 to 3,000 square foot. You'll see some that are 32 sometimes, every once in a while. But these are going to be anywhere from like 475 to 500 up to maybe close to 6, maybe just over 6. The reason this is a value is because it is one of the newest neighborhoods in Virginia Beach, in this area, that is under $600,000 in the same size. Why does that matter? It's just because people look for new, and the reason they look for new often is, or newer, is because you want that more open floor plan, more contemporary floor plan. And that's one of the things that Woodbridge Point has that other neighborhoods near it do not have. And so you should walk in some of these floor plans, you have more open ceilings, you know, a little bit wider hallways, you know, bigger rooms, more closet space, all that type of stuff that makes it, I think, a value. Again, you may be paying $550 to $600 for like a 2,800 square foot house, but you might be paying a little bit more for another house that is newer, that's relatively close by. So I think this is, for what you're getting, I think a pretty good value for the price, because it's a newer neighborhood and it's Woodbridge Point. You have some that are on lakes, some are off lakes, but it's tucked in the corner off of Lynn Haven Parkway. Similar to Charlestown, you're close to a lot of the same things. So again, I think this is good value. Now we're going to zoom out again, going to the northwestern side of Virginia Beach, in a neighborhood called Lake Smith Terrace. This is on the northwestern side of Virginia Beach, back towards, I talked about once in a different video called Haygood Point. Well, next to Independence Boulevard and Haygood Road, Haygood Point's right here. Well, next to it is Lake Smith Terrace right here. These houses are a little bit on the older side, 60s, kind of like Kempville Colony. You'll see more ranches in here, but they're anywhere from 1,500 square feet to like 27, maybe even 3,000, but 27, 28. But you'll find houses in here anywhere from like the low to mid 400s for the smaller ones up into the 5s, mid 5s for the larger ones. But I think for what you're getting, I think this is a pretty good value because it is in the Thorogood Elementary School District, which if you find most of Thorogood Elementary School is priced a little bit higher. Now, there's nothing super fancy about this neighborhood, but the houses, the lot sizes, the ranch style, and a lot of these are 1-story. I do like the balance of what you get here. And again, you can get easy ability to get out to other parts of town very easily. You got Independence is right here. Grocery stores. There's a great spot here with plenty of good restaurants. I like Noodle Man's right here, and Clean Eats, a couple I like in the same shopping center right across the street from Lake Smith Terrace. So I think that is a value. I think the fact that you can get up into Shore Drive towards Chicks Beach in about 8 to 10 minutes is also a good aspect of this neighborhood. Brick style houses for the most part in here. And this kind of house style is also often found in other neighborhoods, but a lot of these houses often are a little bit larger. Like instead of a house that's like 1,700 square feet, you might be finding one that's 21, 22. And so my point is that people that don't want as big of a house don't have as many options to choose from in a neighborhood that feels like this. So I think Lake Smith Terrace allows for different varieties of options for preferences, the style, size house that you want, but also keeps the prices low enough to where you're not paying an exorbitant amount to be in a place like, for example, Kings Grant. You're paying $625 for the same type of house. And if you're researching schools and you like Thorogood Elementary, this is one for the price I like a lot because it's in the Thorogood Elementary School District, which is right across the street in Thorogood. The next, we're going to zoom up to the top part of Virginia Beach into a neighborhood near the beach. And not that I don't really like the beach that much personally, but I do like trying to find value around the beach. And I've talked a lot about Shadow Lawn, which is near the southeastern side of Virginia Beach, and I do like the value there. But if you want to be on or near water, near the ocean or near the bay, but you don't necessarily want to pay to be in Chicks Beach, for example. We don't necessarily want to pay to be, in Croatan or, even on the ocean near Chicks Beach, but you want to be in the same general vicinity. Cape Story by the Sea, I think, is great value. You'll find to see these houses in here. The roads, some of them, they connect on the side of the ocean or the bay. This is the Chesapeake Bay on this side, but also across Shore Drive to the other side as well. Really quiet streets, lots of trees, well wooded, but you're right next to the ocean. That's pretty cool and unique. You also have a trail that leads right through the neighborhood all the way to the First Landing State Park, all the way through. It's with the largest park in Virginia Beach. So having that in the neighborhood, you don't have to leave the neighborhood to get there. That's another one. Number two, the next one is, again, you could be on the ocean side, which is going to be a higher price range, but for what you're getting, pretty nice. I've seen some that sell for $700 on the beach side. I've seen them go over $1 million, especially on the water, well over on the actual ocean, that's just kind of the par for the course for being on the actual ocean or the bay. But if you come off the water across Shore Drive, these could be anywhere from $450, $500 for the smallest ones, up to $600, $700, $800. Now again, you can see the big ones, larger ones can go higher than that. Again, I get that, but what you're getting to be this close to the beach is pretty nice. I think you do trade some things. So for example, the yard size, lot size, not too big, but that's kind of typical for being close to the beach. Another thing is some of these are actually pretty small, like 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom little bungalows, those are the ones you'll find that are mostly $450, $550 or so. That's also a thing. Another drawback is that when you're in the neighborhood, if you're on the other side of the beach, on the south of the Shore Drive side, you still have to cross over to Shore Drive. And that's not easy because it's a pretty main road and people will be flying down that road a lot. Now, they did make the speed limit as you drive into the neighborhood, 35 miles an hour. So they're not as fast going through here. But just keep in mind that sometimes people don't often really realize that because you're driving through Shore Drive, through the park, and you're also from the west side as well. You don't always see that sign. So it's nice, it's helpful, but it's still a kind of an effort to get across the street. It's not the simple, hey, just take a quick stroll across to the beach. So that's another thing that I think is another reason why it's a little bit cheaper, but I do think for what you're getting, I'm a big fan of this neighborhood, and I could see it also bumping up in value a little bit if people are trying to trend away from the other more expensive parts of the beach and say, hey, if I can give up a few things, I can get some real nice value in a place like Cape Story by the Sea and still be close to the beach. Now, let's go down into the Kellam School District on the very southeastern side of Virginia Beach, close to Seaboard Road, close to also some other neighborhoods I talk about a lot near Red Mill, near Ocean Lakes. But it's in the Kellam School District, a neighborhood called Foxfire. Foxfire, see right here. This is Foxfire right here. This comes off of Seaboard Road. I've talked about a lot of neighborhoods around here. For example, Sherwood Lakes, which are these two lakes right here, the houses near there. I did a video about that neighborhood. Three Oaks, Matthews Green, some really nice bigger neighborhoods around Foxfire. Those are priced anywhere from starting in the $550, $600 at least up to $700, $800 and up. Heron's Ridge, another one that's just south of there on the golf course. Those are $800 and up for the most part. But just next to all that is Foxfire. These are built in the early 90s. You'll see 3 to 4 bedrooms, sometimes 5, but they're anywhere from in the 4s and 5s. That's some value compared to what you'd find in other parts of the same section in Kellam High School District. It's one of the cheapest neighborhoods to me for single family houses in all of Kellam High School District. So I think that the gap, the delta between a place like Foxfire and the other neighborhoods around it, while the differences in feel and type of house are drastic enough that you can see a difference. It's a drastic difference. But again, price-wise, I can see some real significant value to be in a place like Foxfire and not have to pay to be in another neighborhood near there, like the Heron Ridges in the 800, 700 price range in Sherwood Lakes, for example. You'll find them anywhere from like the 450 range to like the 550 price range. I think for a 3, 4, even 5-bedroom house in the like 18 to 2,500 square foot range for being in Kellam High School District, pretty good value, because there aren't too many neighborhoods like this in Kellam High School District at all. A lot of these neighborhoods in Kellam are a lot higher priced. So keep Firefox in mind if you want to be in the Kellam High School District and in this, or even in the southeastern part of Virginia Beach, because for the price, you can get a really good value in this neighborhood. Now, the next neighborhood is right almost smack dab in the center of Virginia Beach. Going back around, you've heard a lot maybe about Lansdowne or about Lynn Haven or about Princess Anne Road. These kind of key words you might hear a lot about in Virginia Beach. Well, the center part of Virginia Beach, here's Princess Anne Road right here. I've even seen this neighborhood bump up in value recently, and I can start seeing this might not be as much of a value in the next year or two, but I'm still seeing a delta between what I think it should be and where it is now, which is Lansdowne Meadows, which is right behind Lansdowne Commons. So you see this neighborhood right here, Winterberry Lane, all through here. This is Lansdowne Commons right here. Now, these houses, nothing fancy, 18 to 2,500 square feet mostly. But you find that if you can get a house in here in the 410 to 435, 440 range, you're still buying into a value relative to the rest of the neighborhood, and I think relative to where I think it still has some room to grow in value. You're close to a neighborhood nearby called Princess Anne Meadows, which is new construction that is like 800 and up, 900 and up, right down the street. You're close to multiple shopping centers. Harris Teeter is close by. Lansdowne Commons is a pretty popular shopping center off of the Princess Anne area in Lansdowne. Lansdowne's a pretty popular area, and also the Lansdowne School District is also that way. But being close to lots of shopping and not having to pay a ton for the access to the rest of the city, and also pretty in-demand school district is pretty valuable. I like this neighborhood a lot, and I think part of the reason again why it's not priced as high is because there's just nothing really that's drastically wowing compared to the other parts of the city. You'll see it's pretty basic floor plans, nothing that interesting. The yards aren't that big. That's kind of what keeps the price down. So if you're able to be comfortable with the size of house and size of yard, I think this could be a good sneaky spot to target. You're not getting too much of a wow factor, but you're getting a nice house for the price in that mid 4s, low 4s, and upper 4s. So if you have any other questions about relocating to Virginia Beach or any other cities around Virginia Beach through Hampton Roads to Williamsburg, let me know. It's what I do. I love helping people relocate to the area. So if you have any questions, I have my contact information in the description. You can email me, call me, text me, and I'll do whatever I can to help you relocate to the area. And I will see you on the next video.